Do you ever feel like you're just reacting to life? You know, like your emotions are kind of in the driver's seat, taking you on this wild, stressful ride you didn't really sign up for.
Hmm.
Maybe you're constantly worried about how things are going to turn out, or stressed by what other people are doing, or just, overwhelmed by the noise inside your own head.
Yeah, that sounds familiar to a lot of people.
What if I told you there was a way to navigate all of that,
Hmm.
to truly show up for your life and the people in it, and find this deep sense of inner peace
Mm.
without having to, like, check out or just stop caring?
It sounds like a pretty tall order, doesn't it? But that fundamental shift, well, that's exactly what we're digging into today.
Exactly. This deep dive, it's all about practicing emotional detachment, non-attachment, and that incredibly freeing skill of letting go.
Right.
We're going to look at how changing your relationship, not just with stuff happening outside, but with your own thoughts and feelings, how that can fundamentally alter your experience and hopefully bring you closer to peace.
And we've pulled together perspectives from, psychology, but also ancient wisdom like Stoicism and modern mindfulness techniques. So it's a really layered look at this.
Yeah, our mission here is to really get into these sources, go beyond just the definitions, and pull out the most practical, useful insights.
The actionable stuff.
Exactly. We want to help you see the line clearly between, healthy emotional management and maybe unhealthy avoidance. And hopefully, you'll walk away with some concrete ways to cultivate peace by loosening your grip on what you can't control.
And putting your energy where it counts on what you can control.
Think of this as your concentrated guide to using emotional detachment as a tool for finding calm in a, let's face it, pretty chaotic world.
Definitely chaotic sometimes.
So, okay, when people first hear emotional detachment, I think their minds often go straight to someone who's maybe cold or unfeeling,
Yeah, checked out.
right? Checked out. Like they
Yeah.
just don't care.
That's such a common misconception, and it's really crucial we tackle that right up front. Healthy detachment, as the sources point out, it's absolutely not about not caring.
Okay.
It's more about consciously managing how you engage emotionally. Think of it like a skill or a tool you use, not just being indifferent all the time.
And that distinction then between the healthy and unhealthy version, that's key.
It's absolutely critical because unhealthy detachment, well, that's often a reaction, right? A defense mechanism.
Like putting up walls.
Exactly. It looks like avoidance, withdrawal, building walls. And yeah, maybe it shields you from pain for a bit, but the sources are clear. It leads to isolation, makes empathy really hard.
Frames relationships.
Totally. And it actually blocks personal growth because you're not processing those strong emotions. You're just sealing them off. It's like trying to live in a bubble, but that bubble keeps out the good stuff too, like connection.
So healthy detachment is the opposite of building those walls.
Precisely. It's about finding perspective, finding calm within challenging situations. It lets you be objective, take care of yourself, but without disconnecting from life or the people around you.
So it's more like skillful emotional regulation.
That's a great way to put it. Choosing where and how intensely to invest your emotional energy, especially when things are tense, rather than just defaulting to apathy.
Okay. And then there's this related idea from Eastern philosophy, non-attachment.
Yes, non-attachment. Particularly from Buddhist thought, which kind of takes it a step further. It's about releasing the clinging
Clinging to what?
to outcomes, possessions, relationships, even clinging to your own ideas about how things should be. But, and this is so important, it's not about feeling dumb or shutting down.
Okay.
It's about finding freedom and like a spaciousness while staying fully present and compassionate.
So could you say, love someone deeply, but without needing them to be a certain way or meet all your expectations?
Exactly that. The sources describe loving someone non-attachedly as, well, appreciating them fully, just as they are, without demanding they fit into your perfect picture of them or the relationship. It's freedom from grasping, not freedom from caring.
That really helps clarify the core idea. It's not about stopping the feelings, it's changing how you relate to them and to events and even your own inner chatter.
And the reason this is such a game changer is because, as the sources highlight, so much of our suffering actually comes from that attachment itself.
Because we get attached and then we immediately try to control things.
Precisely. Attachment, it's natural, but it often fuels this intense drive to control outcomes, situations, even other people.
Right.
And when you get too invested in how things absolutely must happen, when you cling really hard to one specific vision, that's when fear and anger really take root. Often it's tied to past hurts or beliefs about what you think you need to be happy.
We build this rigid mental blueprint, and if reality deviates even slightly, Boom. Negative emotions.
Absolutely. And the sources point out common ways we do this. Being totally dependent on one specific outcome, having this tunnel vision.
Or idealizing people or relationships.
Yes,
Right.
fantasizing about how perfect it should be. Or putting all your emotional eggs in one basket, making any other possibility feel like a total disaster.
And the toll that takes, I mean, constantly trying to force reality to match your plan sounds exhausting.
It really is. Psychologically, it's just a breeding ground for anxiety, frustration, crushing disappointment when things don't go perfectly.
Yeah.
It stifles creativity, too, because you can't adapt. And it sets you up to feel like a failure when, inevitably, life throws curveballs. It's just this constant draining fight against the uncontrollable.
Okay, so recognizing that problem, the attachment, the control, that's step one. What frameworks do the sources offer to help us actually shift out of that pattern?
Well, this is where we get some really powerful tools. Things like cognitive reframing from psychology, and also the ancient wisdom of Stoicism.
Cognitive reframing, like changing the picture frame.
Essentially, yeah. It's a tool to consciously shift your mindset. Simple but profound. Our thoughts about what happens are what really drive our emotions and actions.
Not the event itself, but our story about it.
Exactly. If you're stuck in negative thought loops, you're probably stuck in negative feelings and behaviors. Reframing helps you break that cycle.
So instead of reacting to something bad with, this is awful, it's unfair, you pause and ask, what?
You ask, is there another way to look at this? Can I see a challenge here instead of just a disaster? Is there a lesson instead of just a failure? It helps you learn from those tough experiences, process them constructively, and then, crucially, let go of the emotional weight. The sources show it improves mental health, cuts stress, builds resilience, and even helps with problem solving because you see more options.
Okay, that makes sense. And then Stoicism, that feels more like a whole philosophy for life, right?
It absolutely is, and it offers this incredibly solid framework for detachment going back thousands of years. The real cornerstone, especially from folks like Epictetus, is this sharp distinction between what is up to us and what is not up to us.
What we can control versus what we can't. The classic dichotomy.
Precisely. What's genuinely up to us, our internal world, our thoughts, judgments, choices, intentions, our values, what's not up to us, pretty much everything else.
Like our health, reputation, other people.
Exactly. Our bodies, property, what others think, external events, the past, the future, none of that is truly under our direct control.
And the Stoic point is that our unhappiness comes from trying to control those external things, the things that aren't up to us.
Bingo. If you tie your peace of mind or your happiness to something outside your control, you are essentially setting yourself up for suffering every single time. Real freedom, real peace, comes from focusing only on what is in your power, your own mind, your responses, your actions, guided by reason and virtue.
Like that analogy Epictetus used, the two handles one.
Oh, that's a perfect illustration. He said everything has two handles. One you can grab that makes it bearable, and one that makes it unbearable.
Okay.
So if someone insults you, you can grab the unbearable handle by focusing on the slight, your wounded ego getting angry.
Which makes you miserable.
Right. Or you can grab the bearable handle. You recognize the insult is just words, reflecting their opinion or state, not some fundamental truth about you. And you choose to focus instead on maintaining your own calm, your own character. The external event, the insult isn't up to you, your internal response is.
Marcus Aurelius apparently applied this even to just dealing with annoying people every day.
He did. He'd mentally prepare himself like, okay, today I'm going to run into people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant. He saw it as just a fact of life, not a personal attack.
So getting upset just gives them power.
Exactly. It hands over control of your inner state. His focus was on maintaining his own integrity and responding with patience or understanding, recognizing their behavior was their issue, stemming from their lack of understanding, and not something he could directly change in that moment.
Now, some people hear Stoicism and they think, okay, that means you become a robot, suppress all emotions.
Yeah, that's another common criticism.
Uh,
But the sources help clarify this too. Stoicism isn't about not feeling things. It's about managing the really destructive emotions.
like overwhelming anger or fear.
Exactly. The ones that cloud your judgment and lead you to act irrationally or unethically. They didn't see emotion itself as bad, but they understood that peace comes from not being controlled by these intense passions, especially when they're tied to external outcomes you can't dictate.
So positive feelings from doing the right thing are okay?
Absolutely. Joy, contentment arising from virtuous action, totally fine. It's the irrational, externally driven turmoil they advise managing.
And it doesn't mean you just sit back and do nothing if something unjust is happening.
Not at all. Stoics believed strongly in taking action for justice, but, and this is key, their action was grounded in reasoned decision-making about what they could actually do effectively.
Within their sphere of control.
Precisely. Rather than being fueled by, say, uncontrollable rage or despair about the injustice itself, which might lead to rash actions, they focused their energy where it could make a real difference, internally through their choices and externally through reasoned efforts, while accepting that the final outcome wasn't guaranteed.
Okay, so we have these frameworks. Understanding attachment, focusing on our control, reframing thoughts. What are some of the practical, like, day-to-day things we can actually do to practice this healthy detachment and letting go?
Yeah, the sources offer a whole bunch of practices that really weave these ideas together. A really foundational one, stressed across many traditions, is cultivating awareness.
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness, just noticing.
Exactly. Observing your thoughts, your emotions, without getting all tangled up in them, and crucially, without judging them.
It helps you see their transient nature, that they're just temporary states passing through, not like fundamental truths about who you are.
Like watching clouds drift by.
Or the analogy one source used, don't be the frantic thought traffic cop trying to direct everything. Be the calm observer on the riverbank, just watching the thoughts float past.
You see them, but they don't sweep you away.
You got it. And tied closely to this is acceptance, which sounds simple, but it's powerful.
Accepting what is.
Just acknowledging reality as it is right now, not fighting it, not denying it, just, okay, this is how things are in this moment. And that includes accepting that your mind will be busy sometimes, or that you will feel difficult emotions. That's normal human stuff, not a sign you're failing.
And acceptance then allows you to process the emotions instead of just stuffing them down.
Yes. Another crucial point. Healthy detachment isn't suppression. You need to process emotions, confront them, understand them, work through them. Things like journaling are fantastic. It gives you a safe space to get it all out, see patterns. Talking to someone you trust, a friend, a therapist, is huge. Or even creative outlets like art or music. They're all ways to engage with the feeling, not just wall it off.
You mentioned talking to a trusted friend. Doesn't that need vulnerability? Which seems like the opposite of detachment to some.
That's a great question. Healthy vulnerability is actually a sign of strength here. Sharing your real feelings with people you trust isn't weakness. It's part of processing and builds real connection. It's the opposite of unhealthy detachment's isolation. It's about being authentic, not necessarily needing a specific reaction, but just sharing your inner reality.
Self-compassion must be huge here, too. It's
Yeah.
hard to process anything if you're just beating yourself up constantly.
Oh, absolutely essential. Treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd give a friend who's struggling. Actively stopping that inner critic.
Easier said than done sometimes.
For sure. But even simple things help, like practices mentioned in the sources, compassionate breathing, or just placing a hand over your heart. These things can actually help calm your nervous system and make it easier to face difficult feelings without getting totally overwhelmed.
And boundaries.
Yeah.
That feels very concrete and practical.
Incredibly practical. Knowing your limits and then actually advocating for them, especially in relationships, is fundamental. It protects your emotional space.
Yeah.
It's a direct action based on focusing on what is in your control, how you let others treat you, how you manage your interactions. And boundaries are absolutely key when we talk about detaching in relationships.
Let's actually go there, specifically detaching with love. Because that phrase itself sounds a bit contradictory, doesn't it?
It really does at first glance. But it's such a powerful concept, especially in families or close relationships, where these attachment patterns run deep.
So what does it mean?
Detaching with love means caring about someone so much that you allow them the dignity, the space to learn from their own mistakes, to take responsibility for their own life. It means stepping back from that constant urge to obsessively worry about them or constantly tell them what to do, or, and this is a big one, repeatedly trying to rescue them from the natural consequences of their choices.
So it's definitely not abandoning them or just withdrawing your love.
No, crucially no. The sources are really clear about that. It's about letting go of the need to control their life or their choices or the outcome for them.
Okay.
You're acknowledging their autonomy, even if you think their choices are, well, maybe not great. You shift your focus from trying to fix their problems to managing your own response and your own well-being in the face of those problems.
Then why is that good for you, the person doing the detaching?
Well, it creates vital emotional space. It frees you from the constant anxiety and frustration of trying to control what you can't. It
Mhm.
lets you accept the reality of the situation instead of constantly fighting it. And it powerfully reminds you that the only person you can truly control is yourself. That actually restores a sense of hope and empowerment, especially if you've gotten really tangled up in someone else's drama to the point where your own health is suffering.
And why is it actually good for them? It sounds potentially harsh.
It can feel harsh initially, maybe, but long term, it allows them to grow. If you're always hovering, advising, rescuing, they never develop their own problem solving skills, their own resilience, their own self reliance. It
Mhm.
can actually create dependency and subtly undermine their self esteem, like you're sending a message. I don't think you can handle this yourself.
Yeah.
Stepping back with love gives them the space to face their challenges and learn their own lessons.
So it's kind of like treating them like capable adults, even when it's really hard to watch them struggle.
Exactly. It respects their autonomy. You let go of your attachment to how their life should turn out, and you trust, which is hard, that they have their own journey. Honestly, it often saves the relationship in the long run because it stops you from burning out or becoming resentful.
Can you give some practical examples of what this looks like?
Sure, the sources offer several good ones, like not giving advice unless they specifically ask for it, clearly stating your own limits, I can't lend you money again, or I won't talk about this when you're yelling,
Okay.
allowing natural consequences to unfold without jumping in to fix it, expressing your own feelings calmly, using I statements, I feel worried when, taking a time out during intense arguments.
Staying focused on your own stuff.
Yes, focusing on your responsibilities, not theirs, refusing to make excuses for their behavior, and actively working not to blow their situation out of proportion in your own head, not catastrophizing. Staying in your own lane, as one source nicely put it.
That own lane idea, that really connects back to the Stoic principle, doesn't it? Focusing on what's yours to manage.
It absolutely does. It's like practical stoicism applied to relationships.
Yeah.
And part of this whole picture, though it can be really painful, is also learning to detach from relationships that are truly toxic or unhealthy from the past.
Right. Letting go completely sometimes.
Yeah. Recognizing the negative impact, disentangling yourself emotionally and maybe practically, and finding a way to get closure so you can move forward in a healthier way.
So pulling all this together, it's clear this isn't like flipping a switch. It's not an overnight thing.
Oh, far from it. Detachment, whether you call it healthy detachment or non-attachment, the sources all describe it as a practice,
Hmm.
a journey.
Mm.
It's not some destination you just arrive at and you're done.
It takes effort.
It takes time, patience, conscious effort, focus, definitely.
And it means you will still feel emotions, sometimes really strong ones.
Yes, that's key. The goal isn't to become numb or eliminate feelings. It's to acknowledge them, experience them fully, but without letting them define you or just blindly dictate what you do next.
Recognizing they're temporary. Like the river again.
Exactly. They flow through you, but they aren't the riverbank itself. They aren't permanent fixtures of who you are.
So the ultimate goal isn't emptiness, but actually freedom
Mhm.
and being more present.
Precisely. The freedom that comes from not constantly clinging, not constantly living in fear of outcomes. And that freedom allows you to live more fully, more authentically, right here in the present moment.
Wow. This has been a really powerful exploration, I think. We've really dug into what healthy emotional detachment and non-attachment actually mean, like the opposite of indifference, really. A way to manage how we engage.
Yeah, and we've seen how much of our own suffering gets tied up in that natural tendency to get attached and then try to control things we just can't control.
And we untrack these powerful mental frameworks, cognitive reframing, to literally change our perspective. And Stoicism offering that timeless principle of focusing inward for peace.
Finding peace where true control actually lies.
Right. Plus, we gathered this whole toolkit of practical strategies, mindfulness, acceptance, actually processing emotions, self-compassion, setting those vital boundaries.
And understanding that complex but really freeing idea of detaching with love in our relationships.
It's clear this isn't about escaping life at all. It's about learning to navigate it with more wisdom, more resilience, and hopefully a lot more peace.
Well said.
So let's leave you, our listener, with this to think about. If finding genuine, lasting peace is maybe less about forcing the world outside you to bend to your will, and more about cultivating mastery and acceptance in the world within you, with just one tiny step, one small shift, you could maybe take today to start shifting that focus inward.
Something to sit with, definitely.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.